Good afternoon, everyone. While we need our eyes to the skies, as our sun enters a grand solar minimum, Earth's largest telescopes closing, 120 of them. CNN tells us there could be a little ice age, but wait, don't worry, there won't be another ice age. Flipping of the lexicon. NASA says, mini ice age, grand solar minimum coming, but the sun doesn't have a major effect on Earth's climate. I'll just run you through history. Great Famine, Cool Period, 125-year mini ice age linked to plagues and falls of empires, famine, price of grain skyrocketing through Europe, Germany, prime example. And I'll ask you the question, do you see anything in history matching as we're stepping down into this grand solar minimum? Bank of America is predicting gold to nearly double to above $3,000 per ounce. And gold is often the most sought-after investment hedge to protect wealth during times of economic uncertainty. With never-ending printing by the Fed, we're fighting an uphill inflationary battle. With this much inflation on the way, only one investment stands out: gold. Patriot Gold Group has no fee-for-life IRAs where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. At Patriot, you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. PatriotGoldGroup.com. The link's in the description box below. And continuing on, the bevy of mainstream media publications coming out now talking about the sun stepping into a grand solar minimum on a multi-century low in solar activity. And CNN at least does say that the sun's magnetic field weakens and provides less shielding from cosmic rays. They didn't exactly say cosmic rays are going to skyrocket and increase, and those same cosmic rays increase cloud cover. Cloud cover therefore has an enormous effect on larger floods that occur faster. 2 dam breaks would be a perfect example in Michigan of what you would expect with a river from the sky termed an atmospheric compression event. That's all linked back to these same cosmic rays. Now, for us as a species on this planet, one of our main things would be to be following the sun, really watching what it does, looking to see the changes. But COVID-19 forces Earth's telescopes to close. More than 120 of Earth's largest telescopes have closed. It was 100 from this article, but it's gone well past 120. And if you do click the link, which I put in the description box below, it actually takes you to every single continent and where the telescopes are and what type of telescope it is, whether infrared or solar telescope, optical. But notice where they featured out of all the telescopes they could have whited out on the image here: Hawaii, South America, Canary Islands. So there must be something very significant in why they've chosen to push these here. We could have gone across the U.S. as well, down in Australia, but they didn't. Now, another thing about this CNN article, it's very confusing, and they did this on purpose. In the title headline, it says the sun's experiencing a less active phase called a solar minimum. It's really a grand solar minimum, but it won't cause an ice age. Now, in our history books and throughout class, when we're taught that we enter an ice age, it takes thousands of years. So people look at this and go, oh, it's nothing. We're never going to go into a full-blown ice age where there's a mile of ice over Chicago or something. But then in the very first paragraph, as they start into the article, they say little ice age. And then the next paragraph down, they say the solar minimum won't spark another ice age. And then you're confused in there. So if you see little ice age, you'll just think they meant ice age. So you, as the regular populace, will go, oh, ice age, little ice age, they equal the same thing. So we're not going to have anything happen with our society based on this. Clever in the narrative, the way the word switch came, but also verified and reinforced something that takes a multi-thousand-year cycle according to controlled geology. And then NASA, with its own tweet here, right on top of that same article, verifying the sun does go through regular cycles of high and low activity, but here's the kicker. The sun doesn't have a major effect on Earth's climate. Because if they were to tell you this, that a grand solar minimum causes extreme shifts in our climate, you might say, hey, maybe it wasn't CO2, maybe it was the sun after all. Maybe we should start asking more questions and looking for solutions to what's going to smack us head on here. So let's take that back here for a second. NASA says solar minimum, grand solar minimum, has very little effect on Earth's climate. So let's just keep using little ice age for an example. I'm going to pull you back in history here. What were the effects of the little ice age on history? Famine, disease, conflict. So I thought, well, let's get a little more specific. How about the 125-year mini ice age linked to plague and fall of empires, famines? That was 535 AD, called the late antique little ice age. And then how about the overall? This is peer-reviewed research, by the way, on JustStore. I encourage you to go to there. There's an enormous amount of free articles that you can peruse through juststore.org. Famine during the little ice age. All of them. But still, NASA says there's no fact. How about just more mainstream History Channel? Little ice age, big consequences. Chilly conditions curbing agricultural production, conflicts. And off iceagenow.info, Robert Felix's site, Little Ice Age brings famine and diseases. And then for those of you who want to do further research, you can go to something called a PDF search engine. So go to your regular search engine, type in PDF search engine, and you get a whole listing of whatever search term you put in. I would put in Little Ice Age famine and then see what pops up. Because these all link to a lot of peer-reviewed research and then academic publications as well in this PDF search engine, which will save you all the garbage on the net that you'll get stuck in that web, literally. And then right away you'll start to see famines during the Little Ice Age, social vulnerability, meaning social upheaval during little ice ages, grand solar minimums, starvation and famine, grand solar minimum, little ice age. How about we go back to the sporer and the wolf minimums? Like a lot of people know this Maunder minimum, which is the 1640 to 1710 era. But when we step back in time, these grand solar minimums occur on regular intervals as well. So you want to look for the sporer minimum, the wolf minimum, the Oort minimum, and then that late antique little ice age. We can go back to Homeric minimum, 400 BC, and it just keeps repeating in history. This is what they're not telling you. This is the reason the global warming agenda was put out for so long, to mask you from seeing the truth of this. This is the reason the changes are here. Food supply needs to be consolidated and locked down. And you're seeing everything being locked down right now. Perfect way to do it. Use another excuse. Back to 1314, great floods and famines. Grand solar minimum. We're starting to see a lot of floods, a lot of food instability. Have you seen the other headlines? Almost everything's about look out, food prices rising, food instability, not enough food. Not occurring yet, but will occur very shortly, is the message through the media. And these grand solar minimums are even responsible for the fall of the Roman Empire. So you start to look back, empires, kingdoms fall when the temperatures drop. How about Mexico in the Little Ice Age? Famines. How about living during the Little Ice Age? This is a great one here. It's a lesson for a student talking about crop productions, economic resets as the grand solar minimum pulls in, drops temperatures, climate discovery, teacher's guide. I linked the PDF in this description box below because I really think if you have a class and you are an instructor or a teacher, please give this lesson here. They even talk about how the Little Ice Age was a cool condition from 1300 to 1850 with the super dip right at the bottom, 1640 to 1710. Talked about famines, population decrease, livestock survival, crop price increases, foods, and everything that you would expect moving forward as we do from now into 2030. Prices of grain in Germany. Now imagine if your price went from $5 up to $45 for the same amount of food. What would that do? That's a 7x increase. How do you think that would affect our economy? But then we do get some drop off around 1660, but then it spikes back up again. So instead of going from 5 to 45, it went from 10 to 45. A 4.5x increase. So what if you were paying 4 times more for your food? How would that affect your budget? Now that 7 times more for your food is a society changer right there. But this is one of the best charts I've seen. It was so well done in that lesson there that you could talk to students about. Farming in Scotland. Some sheep die in the cold winters. Right there on 1550 seems to be the heaviest concentration of sheep mortality. But then we look at the dash lines. Very poor harvest causes famine. That seems to be really centered around the same time, 1570, right around 1600, and then again right around 1700, or going back to, I say 1670. And if you do an image search, just go back into the Middle Ages and image search famine, plague, whatever, and you're going to come up with all these lithographs here, which also have some really interesting towers on them that might be more than just spires. You can do your own research on how history's evolved with that. But wherever we look, we get these same fingerprints of the grand solar minimum. Yet NASA right here says these regular cycles, it doesn't have much of a major effect on Earth's climate. I'll say look back in history and see what we're in for, and that's what's being hidden. And if you want to take some of this to present to your friends or give to your friends, oilseedcrops.org, my website, where I take all the videos, turn them into written PDFs with all the images, graphs, slides, and links that you can just download for free. And also you can sign up for the newsletter there if you want more Grand Solar Minimum climate updates. And as always, during these Grand Solar Minimums, you're going to have to grow more of your own food. I suggest TrueLeafMarket.com for their heirloom seeds. That's what I use. They have herb kits you can order online. I grow microgreens, so I get larger quantities of seed because you use more seed when you're growing microgreens. But they also have everything that you could use for garden kits if you're going to put something out, pumpkins, squash, tomatoes, whatever it would be through the summer season. Whatever you want to grow, they have a seed for you across North America and all the different temperate and grow zones. Links in the description box below. It's another way to support the Adapt 2030 to keep information like this coming to you. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.